Hello everybody, CW here. I want to do a quick video. I want to do a quick shout out to a brother of all of ours, Walter Bunning, aka Vaejo. We were talking the other day, and we talk every day, all right? Let's get that out of the way. We talk every day. We text back and forth. A couple of other guys on YouTube. We like to stay in touch. We got a great community. We talk all the time. We have our chats, we have our private chats, we have our text messaging, we have our phone calls. We owe a debt of gratitude to YouTube that we cannot repay with the friends that we've made through YouTube. As much as we complain about it, well, we've met some great people. Anyway, we got talking about mold handles, and I got a couple new mold handles out here. And one of these I got with that Lyman 452 651 325 grain bullet that Bubba Triclops was asking about and wanted to try for his 450 Bushmaster. And I told him I didn't have one. And right after I said that, as often Google does, they started popping up in my feeds. And I saw one on on eBay, and I grabbed it. And it came with a set of handles. So I said, that's awesome. Nice set of new handles. And these go for a lot of money, way more than they're worth. They're nice, but they're expensive. This is a set that's exactly the same. Well, it's not exactly the same. It's supposed to be exactly the same. That I bought 2 years ago, probably when we were talking about this at that time. And I said, I don't have any of the new handles from Lyman. They look just like the old Seikos. This is a Seiko handle. Yes, it looks identical. It's probably made by the same people. I always thought that, these companies made their own, but now that you see this, I don't know. Is it the same? Are they made by a company for these companies? Or did Lyman just steal Seiko's handles? I mean, the Seikos have a brass, where the Lymans are silver. The Lymans are pinned, where the Seikos are just dimpled. But the casting is virtually the same. Now, the shape is different because the molds are different. Going back to the video that I did and Walter has done on mold handles, you need to buy mold handles specific for your molds that you buy, because they just don't all work with the same handles. Lyman handles are probably the closest to a universal, but even they're not, because you've got single cavity, you've got double cavity, and you've got 4 cavity Lyman molds that are different. They're different handles. They don't all work with the same molds. They're all Lyman molds, but you need 3 different handles to work with those 3 different molds. And the reason for that is it's the mold size. It's not so much the cavities, because you can get single cavity Lyman molds that are great big giant honking cavities, blocks. They're the same blocks that are used for the 2 cavity. So a 2 cavity set of handles like these are would work with those big, large single cavity molds like you'd have for, let's say, 50 or 45-70 or some of the big 40 caliber center fires. They're big, 300, 400, 500, 600 grain molds made on the large blocks. So they won't work with the small, petite 22 caliber single cavity mold blocks. That needs another set of handles. So we said, I'm looking for a set of 4 cavity Lyman molds handles, and I only have the old style. Let me pull a set out. The old style Nutcracker. This is a Lyman set of handles made for the 4 cavity Lyman molds, and this is all they had for years. That's what you had to have. And they're okay. We've learned to use them. They work fine. But this style is you know, we get to use them. It's kind of like chopsticks. You know, we know how to open them up and close them with one hand because you got the other hand with your mallet, and you get to know how to use these really good. When you go over to these, it's like, you know, it's like learning all over again. How do you handle this thing? What do you got to use two hands. I got to put my mallet down. I got to crack this open, and I got to whack it. And you're supposed to whack here. You're not supposed to whack on the mold. And what do you do? And blah, blah, blah. I just wanted to have this style handle. So we got to talking about price, and he says, "Oh my goodness, they are so expensive." And they're pushing like $80. That's just way too expensive. So he says to me, "Watch your mail." Well, darn you bugger, he sent me a set of handles. And you can see right on here on the box, I think you're probably in frame, 4 cavity handles. So let's get them out of here. And they're brand new. Walter, thank you so much. I mean, you had to buy these things. Thank you. Anyway, you can see they look almost the same, but you look here, this has got like a shoulder ground into it with a different size hole. And if you notice back over on these here, it's got a big hole. Well, the 4 cavities use a big, large pin. And these handles, even if they would fit and line up, they wouldn't work because the hole is too small. And that's what you'll find on some of the Seikos, some of the Lack Millers, some of the RCBSs. They use different size pins. So even if you get the handles on, like you take a set of Lyman handles and you file them down, grind them down to work with the RCBSs, because the RCBSs has a very, very thin channel that the mold handles go in. It won't work because your pin doesn't line up. The hole is different. So what they did with these is they ground them all the way back and they made them thinner, because the 4 cavity Lymans are also very thin like the RCBS. So this handle would probably now work on a set of RCBS blocks, except they won't, because the hole is so honking large. When you put your molds in there and open them up, they're going to go clunkety, 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 clunk. And when you try and line them up to close them, they're not going to want to line up. So this thickness might be right. It's not going to be right because of the hole diameter. So, long story short, this isn't what I intended the video to be, but this is what it's become. You need to buy mold handles for your specific molds. Thankfully, Lee makes a pretty decent set that works with a lot of different molds. They cut them in such a way that they will work with the single cavities. They'll work with most small block Lyman molds, all the way up to the big 2 cavity molds. They'll work with NOEs, Accurates, Arsenals, MPs, all the way up to 4, 6, 8 cavity molds. The Lee mold handles usually work with them. So that's a good source for covering a lot of different molds. I now have a set of conventional handles, thanks to Walter. And I just wanted to give him a big shout out, a big thank you for being who he is, the generous person. Sent me out a set of mold handles. Thank you, brother. I really appreciate it. God bless everybody. Remember, tell those people in your life that you love them, because tomorrow is not a guarantee. Today is a present. It's a present. You don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. God bless everybody. CW out.